Welcome to the end of day one of the third test match. It's been an interesting day. It's been quite a leveler of a day. There might be some fans who are disappointed. There might be some fans who are quite happy.
True. It's been a good day's play. I think even Stevens, maybe England just getting an edge in that last session, but
True.
overall, a great day's test cricket had everything in it. It had a lot of discipline. It had a lot of people questioning baseball's tactics.
Yeah, that's true.
Things we will get to, but for people who are just joining in for the very first time, what is up? We are going to be covering every day of the test match. If you're joining in for the first time, there's going to be a lot of segments. We talk about everything from India's positives to negatives to technical breakdowns. So hit that like, get this stream pushed out to a lot more people. And sorry for being late, lads.
We should have acknowledged that first. But hi, Rishit. It's great to see you here. Hi, Akshay. Hi, Shrikant. Hi, Roy Chaudhary. Hi, Samrit Das, Tanuj. You guys have been talking. Hi, Arif. Good day in game itself. Split down in the middle. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with that. Uncle Weege, no one knows. Evening, babies. Evening. Did Pant ate the grass? Right.
Pant needs to touch some grass for now.
True, yeah. But thank you guys. Finally started. Yeah, Radhakrishnan. We apologize. Anonymous, yeah, we are late.
Yeah. Today, late is fine.
Yeah,
Let's not
it's
have any other comments apart from late. Late OP is okay.
yeah, that's
You know who you are.
true. One Mahendra, right? We are late, of course, we are late. But like Praatibh said, there are a lot of things to go through, which we will. Sandeep, hi. You know what? All right, so we'll also have a place where where we'll also have a segment where we talk to the chat.
Yeah.
Something if you didn't already know, if you didn't join in the pre-match, is that we are both a little sick. So if you hear a lot of noises that might put you off, we do apologize. We have a cold and a fever and everything
There's going to
together.
be
So
coughing, sneezing, snorting, the entire package.
yeah, so we do apologize for that, except we are not cutting any corners in terms of analysis because this is what we do and this is what we want you guys to enjoy. So right, let's go through this. Let's go through the scorecard.
All right, so it's been a good day's play. England started off really well in the morning, eventually putting up 39 for the loss of no wickets by the first hour. But from there, NKR turned it around, picking 2 wickets in the same over, with England heading into lunch at 83 for 2. Now, eventually, the day progressed with England batting fairly slow, very anti Bazballian, as is also someone's username on Twitter. But yeah, England eventually getting to 251 for 4. Joe Root stranded on 99 at the end of day's play. Ben Stokes finally getting yet another start. 39 not out of 102, but that's where the day stands.
Yeah, Joe Root finishing off on a 99 was not expected. Merit on in Brit, that's positives for the day. Let's take away.
Right, so there have been a lot of positives for India. Things I want to get into firstly is the opening bowlers as well as Mohammad Siraj. I thought all of them were on the money. There was a little bit of surprise as to why Siraj did not start. It's something we'd spoken about in our pre. But even for him coming in first change, it's still done a pretty good job. It's probably because of the bowling end that he wanted, is what we kind of reduced it down to. But I think each bowler started off extremely well, started off with the right lines and lengths for the most part. But from there, for Nitish Kumar ready to come in and get the kind of movement for starters that he did, very loopy banana style swing, something that we used to see a lot in the past from some of the Indian part timers. Might even remind you all of someone like a Saurav Ganguly who used to do that in the past and was effective in England. I thought NKR balled beautifully right from the start, not just because he got his wickets, but also because I've been talking about this since the last test match, where a lot of you have been basically shitting on NKR, but he's balled in the right areas and it finally showed its rewards today. It reaped its rewards. Apart from that, I think the captaincy was also fairly proactive. There are a couple of complaints which Ashwin will get into, but overall, I think Shubman Gill was a lot more proactive as a captain with his fields. He was willing to attack, he was willing to give a slip and a silly point to someone like Jadeja. And it was just heartening to see. It really has shown how far Gill has come from just the first test match, which is great signs for this Indian team. Now, I'll just quickly see if there's any other. Yeah, and another positive is Dhruv Jurel's keeping. Unfortunately, Pant had to go out because of his nail getting chipped off. He seems to be okay, so that's another positive. But Jurel, in the limited time that he did keep, looked pretty good, took the catch as well. And it was great to see him there. And it's tough, right? Because he's been serving drinks at the first half of the day. And from there, for him to come and don the gloves and then just put in the kind of keeping effort that he did, great stuff.
All right, that's been the positives of the day. Like you said, where is baseball? That's been going on in our chat. that is something that happened because of India's bowling. They didn't let the England batters get away, and that is something we will talk about when we address the chat. Something else I think someone talked about, which I completely missed out on. Thought about it. But let's talk about the negatives for the day because there are a few and we have few complaints. We still thought, even though the theory was that Siraj did want to bowl from the better end, that is the end Bumrah was bowling from, is I think Siraj should have still started off with the new ball. I think Siraj and Akashdeep getting the new ball should have been the I think Bumrah being the first change should have been the cherry on top, and Siraj and Akashdeep starting off with the new ball should have been the cake, if the metaphor suits. And when that didn't happen, I was a little surprised, but not all that surprising with how the team management goes about it. I don't think we've predicted what the team management will do completely as of yet, but that is one negative. And I also thought the use of Akashdeep the entire day was a bit radical, not radical, erratic, in the sense that even in the first spell that Akashdeep had, the second he was getting into a good rhythm, and of course, in that particular over, Zach Rowley, I think, hit him for 2 fours, if I'm not wrong. He was then stopped and Bumrah switched ends because Akashdeep was getting a lot more bounce from the end he was bowling from. Right now, I remember something that I had to talk about was the pitch because someone asked how the pitch was playing. During the opening spell, the end Akashdeep was bowling from was getting a lot of bounce. He was getting a lot of bounce. There was an extra zip from the wicket, whereas the end Jasprit Bumrah was bowling from was very, very slow. We saw Ben Duckett's edge not carry to Rishabh Pant. In fact, we saw a lot of edges not carry to the slip cordon. And I think that's also why Jasprit Bumrah wanted the change of ends because he wanted the end where there was a lot of bounce. Fair play to him. I just thought they should have waited until Bumrah got that end because Akashdeep was bowling really, really well. In fact, until that over, if I'm not mistaken, he had two maiden overs on a trot. And that was just beautiful bowling. And I didn't think that over needed Akashdeep to be changed and Jasprit Bumrah to be back. And again, to emphasize on how the pitch is playing, we think it's playing really, really, really slow. It was something that was brought upon even in the WTC cycle, even though there was a lot more for the pace bowlers then. I think even on this wicket, there is something for the pace bowlers. It's still swinging. There is something when you bowl it in the right corridor, but it's still pretty slow. A lot of edges not carrying to the slip cord, and it's something we again saw in the WTC final. Right. So, and even when Akashdeep was brought back for his second and third spell, I didn't think he was brought back from the right end, the end that he was actually bowling well from. And even Akashdeep, his rhythm wasn't completely at it. I don't know if it's the slope that he's not used to, or just the fact that his second and third spell. We've seen this happen in Australia too, where his first spell is extremely great with the new ball, and every time he comes back, there are some times where there is a bit of inconsistencies, and there are times he goes leaks runs. Also, what he did today, he struggles to get wickets between the 31st and the 80th over, and he did get a couple of wickets in the last game, which he's improved on, and I think he just needs to continue improving. I'm not going to be very critical on Akashdeep, but it is something to look at, and as the captain, I think he needs to get Akashdeep's end right. And even with spinners weren't introduced until the 48th over, if I'm not mistaken. Right, in the 48th over, we just thought it was too late. And what surprised us that is the fact that both the spinners were introduced together, which is not what you would usually do. You would introduce one spinner, see how the pitch plays out with another fast bowler who's in good rhythm. Of course, the fast bowlers at that point were leaking runs, which is understood, which is why you break the rhythm early on, not wait till the 40th over. You break the rhythm early on, bring on one spinner. You would bring on Jadeja, see how the pitch is playing, have him with the fast bowler, and then see if you need to introduce Sundar really. And which is what happened because after lunch, I was it after lunch or was it after tea? I think Jadeja and Bumrah started off, which is what should have happened to begin. Oh yeah, it was after lunch or after tea. It was after tea when Jadeja took the wicket of Ollie Pope in the first over, first ball after tea, and then Jasprit Bumrah from the other end. It should have been like that from the get-go, spinner and a fast bowler. It's common sense according to us. We just thought Gill missed out on that. We didn't think two spinners should have been introduced together from the get go. Yeah, those are just couple of uh, criticism towards the Indian team, but yeah, all in all, a balanced day. Let's go to oh, what a grit.
All right, so these are moments of the day for people who are just joining in. Definitely drop a like. I think there's about 88 of you, but we have just 15 likes, so we'd like to change that. And all right, talking about the moments, there are a couple of things. Firstly, of course, is Rishabh Pant going off. Now, this isn't necessarily a moment that could have possibly made or broken the game for India, But I think it was significant enough for him to be going off in the 34th over because apart from just being the wicketkeeper, apart from being the energy that holds the team together, he's also the brains that Shubman Gill lots of times goes to whenever there is a partnership like the one that's building right now between Stokes and Root. So that's one thing. The other thing was Stokes surviving that LBW in the 67.4th over against NKR. It was an umpire's call. We did go for a review, but because it was not out, it remained not out. It's things that go your way some days they don't. There's not much to complain about, but just a moment because NKR definitely looked the most threatening bowler in his spells. And if we would have got Stokes' wicket at that point, maybe, just maybe, it could have opened the floodgates for the Indian team. Now, apart from that, Bumrah getting Brook was also equally important because we've known Brook to be able to get off to a start and then just take the game away, take the attack to the opposition. This way, at least we know that despite England playing till the end of the day, they have not been able to put up something crazy like 350 or 400 already. And a large reason of that is because Harry Brook has been dismissed. The threat is over, and so India can rest slightly easy, but yeah, still a long way to go.
That's over the grid. Let's talk about credit for the bid, and that's player of the day, and it has to be NKR. A lot of you guys were raving about Nitish Kumar Reddy pre-match, and that's exactly what he did. Picked up the first 2 wickets of the match. We were hoping for a 20-wicket haul in the match itself. That's unfortunate. Happened. But NKR, he started off brilliantly. His first ball in every spell was spectacular. After that, what he does is what he does. But in his first ball in every spell was 10 on 10. And I thought he improved his bowling. I want to say he improved his bowling from before. I think he's become a lot more consistent. But the fact that he was getting so much swing is something I was really happy to see. And the fact it's not all right. We'll get into this. We'll get into this in the technical tidbit, right? But it's not only the fact that he was able to get swing. It was not only the fact that he was able to control swing. It's the fact that he was able to swing the ball both ways. He had an in swinger and out swinger to a right hander. That was so heartening to see because if your fifth or sixth bowler can do that, there's nothing more you need, and that's exactly what NKR provides you, and which is also why he's the player of the day. Getting a Jaffa of Zach Crawley, what more could you ask for? Let's go to quick wit and Brit, and that's stats for the day. Not much stats today.
Not too many stats that stood out, but a very interesting, and this is something that the Indian fans will love, which is hopefully all of you. Zach Crawley playing 39.5% of fall shots in his innings today. Ben Duckett playing 40% of fall shots. This is amongst the openers who've played at least 40 deliveries. Since records began, the 12th and 13th least controlled innings on record. That is quite the start, and that just goes on to show how on the money the Indian bowlers were. A lot of times we saw Crawley step out and just completely miss the ball altogether. Duckett too wasn't particularly comfortable. So hats off to the Indian bowlers. I think this has been the best start by all three bowlers, the new ball bowlers as well as the first change. Yeah, and then apart from that, Joe Root crossing 3,000 test runs versus India. He just goes on to continue to score runs, and he's on
How many
99
runs
not
does
out.
Rohit Sharma have in his test career?
Well. I would want someone in the chat to look that up while Ashwin still conjures up that number. But lastly, Joe Root also crossing 2,500 runs at Lords. He's only the second player to do so. And I think the first one is also an Englishman. I'm forgetting who it is. It's either Graham Gooch or somebody. But yeah, Joe Root has crossed even the person who first got 2,500 runs at Lords. So yeah.
All right, so that's that. Let's go to the technical tidbit, right? So Rohit Sharma has a total of 4,300 runs in the test format, whereas Joe Root has 3,000 runs just against India. I'm not saying I'm not comparing the two players. I'm just trying to show you in terms
There
of
is no comparison.
yeah, just in terms of perspective, how good Joe Root has been, especially against India. All right, let's get to the technical tidbit and let's talk about ways to swing a ball. It might seem like a very easy task, but it is very difficult in its own ways. Now, there are a couple of ways a fast bowler can go about swinging a delivery. Now, something you would see NKR do really, really well is hold the seam regardless of where he's trying to swing the ball, in or out, because now we know that NKR can swing the ball inside and outside. He will hold the ball right on top of the seam. There'll hardly be any adjustment in terms of how he's holding the seam. What he does really well is move his wrists. So that is something Wasim Akram talks about a lot. That is something Nitish Kumar Reddy, in fact, did that quite well today, being able to swing the ball in and out using his wrist. So before he releases the ball, he decides where he wants to swing the ball, and because of his wrist position, he pushes the ball inside or outside. Because of which the seam position either goes outside or inside, and he's able to swing the ball that way. But very conventional and very something that you would essentially do with your wrist position, something Bhuvneshwar Kumar did really well with his wrists, is also have a change in grip. So if you're bowling an outswinger, you would essentially hold the ball like this, where the index finger is on the seam and your middle finger is a little away, so that when you're swinging the ball using your wrist, you're not only pushing the ball out, but you're also emphasizing a little bit of pressure on the seam with your index finger. So you roll the ball backwards, you're able to get the ball to swing out. And the exact same for an in swinger. So you have the middle finger on the seam, your index finger beside it. You try to push the ball in with your middle finger. And when you do that, your middle finger pushes the ball outside with the ball rolling backwards, you get the ball to swing inwards. It's very interesting how a lot of fast bowlers prefer to use the wrist position rather than the seam and like holding different ways. But if you see Mitchell Stark loading the ball, which is very, very good to see, you would always see him being a left hander. You would always see him hold the ball this way, that is, having his index finger on the seam, trying to swing the ball in to a right hander, getting him out clean, bowled, LBW, whatever he tries to do. So yeah, these are just couple of ways to swing a ball. A lot of fast bowlers have a combination of both, but players like Nitish Kumar Reddy evidently likes to hold the ball the same way and just tries to use his wrist. So yeah, that's the technical tidbit for the day. Let's go to addressing your chits and let's talk to chat. Yeah. Is Praatibh a wrist spinner or a finger spinner?
Finger
Praatibh,
spinner.
right, he's a finger off spinner. Don't compare Brook with Pant, even as a joke. They don't deserve to be in same conversation. Pant is far better batter. In terms of runs,
Whoa.
statistically, maybe now.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Very interesting how that's come up and what context.
Guys, we have to see all of them on challenging wickets, or they have to bat outside England. To be fair, I thought today's wicket was quite challenging. It was seaming in the beginning, it was swinging too.
Yeah.
And we saw Joe Root stand up straight.
I think what's a good why I also think that this has been a good test wicket so far is because for batters who are coming in, it is a challenge. It's not easy. But once you're able to grind it out, you are able to get in and score those runs. We've seen that with so many of the batters today who've just taken their time. They've mostly been able to get in and get off to a good start.
That's
So
true. It's also spinning.
it's also
Quite a
spinning on day
bit.
one, which is very interesting. I think it's not something we properly address, but
Yeah. Ravi Singh, come on, dude. Brook is good too. Of course, Brook is good. Like, he's good. He's the number one batter currently. Like, there's no doubt that he's not good. He is good. There's no doubt
that he's not okay.
he's
Yeah,
good.
yeah, he's good.
Let's just
Yeah.
say he's good. Opinions on two sloggers YouTube channel? We have no opinion.
Nor do
They
we
do what they
watch.
do, and it's fine. I think India missed the trick by not playing Kuldeep Yadav in place of Sundar. Pitch was good for spin. Interestingly enough, watch out for tomorrow's video and watch out for why we think Kuldeep Yadav should walk into any squad in the world, not just the Indian team.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That
Guys,
possibly answers our stance on this.
yeah, that's true. Agreed on this pitch with your points. I don't fair. All right. Something I do want to talk about is wait. As we know, it's when lacquer starts coming out is when batting gets more
Football's
difficult. That's
yeah.
where that's why does best paces operate with new ball, and by this time the spell should have gotten over. That was one theory I think someone brought upon in comms about why Siraj is coming first change.
Yeah, I think it was Jonathan Trott if I'm because Siraj came in bang at the end of the 8th over, so 9th overs when he came in.
Yeah, we thought it was
Yeah.
a very short spell for Bumrah, except
Yeah.
it was just an end
Change
change.
of ends, yeah.
But yeah.
Lads, can we get it to 50 likes? Come on. Please.
India today were very disciplined, barring Akash Deep and few overs here and there. We were disciplined, maybe a fraction short early on, but good, just unlucky day. Yeah, I thought we were brilliant today, to be
Yeah.
honest. To get Australia, to get England for just 251 for 4 by the end of 83 overs with a run rate of just a little more than 3.
Yeah.
It has to be the slowest they've batted for a very long time in terms of time. So like 83 overs, just a run rate of more than 3. I don't know what the stat is. It's not really factual, but I thought we did extremely well.
But even those last two sessions that went at 2.92 and 2.88, I think they've been on the top 5 slowest sessions that England have had since the Basball era.
Yeah.
So that's saying something.
Yeah, I mean, there's two folds to this. Joe Root hasn't gotten a lot of runs. He was struggling in the beginning. He again looked twitchy, so
Yeah.
he took his time. Stokes, again, he hasn't gotten
Not
a lot of
gotten
runs.
runs.
So I mean, to be fair, I think it was Arthur or Nasir Hussain talking about how Stokes, even though in this Basball era, does take his own time,
Yeah, he
take a
does.
lot of time to settle in.
Yeah.
But yeah, NKR in the press conference said he asked Pat Cummins for advice to bowl in England and Australia. One goat to another.
Nice. I mean, it's too early to call NKR a GOAT, but it would be nothing like it if he ends there. In fact, when he got those 2 wickets, it was a reminder of what Hardik Pandya did when he was in England. So if NKR can replicate that, great.
First, today was a batting day as there was sun entire day, so it was unlucky day. With some clouds, we may do well tomorrow with the ball. Srikanth, I don't think there's going to be clouds in the next 5 days. The
Yeah,
forecast is 30 degrees. It's bright, sunny, blue
yeah.
skies.
There's not even a cloudy forecast.
Yeah, I don't think that. I also why England chose to bat first because that's what they assumed it to be.
Exactly,
Joe Root looked so good after he got properly settled. Yeah.
exactly.
Should we now include Shreyas Iyer, Sarfaraz Khan, Akshar Patel if Pant goes injured and Karun Nair doesn't perform in this test? No.
You don't have to look that far. You have Dhruv Jurel. You don't have to go beyond.
Gill giving to both spinners to cover up the overrate because we were short of overs to complete the quota. That's why he
Yeah,
go with two spinners in both ends. Yeah, that's fine
that's
by me,
fine.
except
Yeah,
just don't go together. Like you
yeah.
could have introduced your spinners way earlier. 40th over is way too late to introduce your spinners and to see what the pitch does. Especially when, yeah, there were bowlers who were leaking a lot of runs. Shubman Gill was, I felt like he was finding trouble to change ends with bowlers and to rotate bowlers. The easiest thing to do is get your number one all rounder in and see what the pitch does. Rishabh was so bored seeing Stokes bat that he went to Wimbledon mid-match. Really? Is that true? Streets won't forget Hardik in England. Yeah, that's he does he have 100 in England?
He has a fifer.
He
He
has a
has a
fifer in
50.
Lords.
That I'm
Okay,
not
no,
sure. I'll have to
yeah,
remember.
my
But he has a 50 also.
yeah.
In fact, it was the same game, I think. Yeah.
I feel Kuldeep has the
Guile.
guile and deception to beat the batsman in the air. Little bit of odd turn with his variation. I think we should pick him, especially after Jaddu got a few to bounce and turn. Yeah, that's true. I think
Completely agree. I honestly, this pitch would have suited Kuldeep a lot, especially with the kind of antics it's shown on day one.
I don't know, but I feel we need Jurel even as a fielder. I think we need Jurel the batter to begin. I
Yeah.
think he's such an underrated batter. He scores whenever he's given a chance in the India A games.
He's played some crucial knocks already for India as well.
Yeah.
I think people only remember that one Australian Test match where he
Yeah.
didn't do
In
well.
England when
When England came to India, he played some crucial knocks
with Kuldeep, yeah. They had a
with
whole
Kuldeep
partnership.
Yadav. Yeah.
We should start discussing how Gill sucks at winning tosses. He has lost 3 in a row now. Yeah. I feel like it's not a bad idea to send someone else every now and then to check the coin out, to call the toss and to see how that goes.
Which captain was it who has a good luck got somebody with him to the toss? That's
Maybe
funny.
it was South Africa. Not, I
If
don't
you
know.
know in the chat, let us know.
90 versus England. Right, Abhinav,
Exactly.
thanks. What I meant was if in England with Duke's ball, if after 10 overs phase is the best to bowl, then why does every team choose to give the ball to their best bowlers earlier itself and not during that phase? Because usually you would have a very long spell. So in the first innings of the second test match, we saw Siraj and Akashdeep. Right. So India's first innings with the ball in the second test match, we saw Siraj and Akashdeep have a spell of about 14 overs, which meant
7 overs
7
each.
overs each. And in these 14 overs, you're hoping that your fast bowlers get into rhythm. And also, by the time the lacquer comes off, which is about 8th or 9th over, they're in their best possible form, which is what we saw in the first innings, which is also what we saw today. Jasprit Bumrah realized that the other hand has a lot of bounce. He was bowling well anyways. And the second Siraj had to be introduced, that is when the lacquer came off. Bumrah changed and he was getting a lot of bounce. Siraj was getting swing, and when NKR was introduced, he was getting swing too. So that's the basic idea of it. You don't want to wait until the eighth over to introduce your best bowler because you know your best bowler is possibly going to give you a wicket even without swing.
Chat, thank you. It was Temba Bavuma. Faf getting in Temba.
Yeah. Amazing keeping from Jurel. Could you guys break down and compare him with Dhoni and maybe Pant would be fun?
Ashwin's done an entire wicketkeeper's breakdown. You
Oh,
have,
that's
right?
true.
You've rated.
I
I don't know
don't
if
think
you
I don't
had
know if
Jurel in
Jurel
that.
was
Yeah.
there.
But we have Ashwin's done a breakdown, so you can check out
Technical break.
technical stuff. Yeah, and we could possibly do one for Jurel in the
That's
future.
true.
Yeah.
Jurel is technically very, very sound. That is, yeah, it's just
There was actually a good example. Someone was talking about it on
Nishant,
comms
like, yeah.
of Jurel getting up. Yeah.
Two catches were missed in the slips. Indian team should have been prepared with helmets in the first over itself to take catches by coming near. Right. Now, this is something. Do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, so it's a couple of things, right? Firstly, it's not as black and white as that. That's the first thing. If you had watched at least 5 to 10 overs in the start, you would know that there was a difference with how the ball was behaving from different ends. From one end, most balls were carrying around chest height to the wicketkeeper. From the other end, occasionally the ball was staying low. What what India could have done is from the end where the bounce was a little low and the carry wasn't there. Maybe once they saw that first catch go down, they could have come a few steps forward, and they did that also with Shubman Gill taking the
Mhm.
helmet and making that change. And yeah, that's all there is to it. I think when India found out that it's not going to carry that much,
Yeah.
they were willing to take it forward. But I know you have another point, so go ahead.
I was going to say it's not as easy as it seems. As slip fielders, even if you practice a lot, you can't just on a given match day come a few inches or like few feet forward just because the ball is not carrying enough. It's very easy when we look from TV, but when you see certain balls going up and when keepers are collecting above or around the shoulders, you as slip fielders are scared. It's very easy to say, hey, you're international players. In fact, Steve Smith took up the mantle, wore a helmet in the WTC final, broke his finger, and then
Yeah.
no fielder did that. And then there was no one standing up front. If someone like a Steve Smith could struggle taking a dolly, which looked like a dolly from TV, if he could struggle, imagine the other fielders. And it's very easy to talk about it, but very difficult to do. And I think
Yeah.
as commentators, I just thought they should mention it, right? Because you have to come up front. Shubman Gill tried to do that, but I think the commentators who have played cricket, especially Dinesh Karthik and Atherton, who have also like stood in the slip cordons, I think it was important to them to specify about how difficult it actually is.
True.
You'd think the pitch have cracks.
No, the pitch does not have cracks. It just has a little bit of turn in it. Will it have cracks moving forward?
Deepika, he wasn't holding. He wasn't. Hey, sorry, sorry.
Hey,
It wasn't Kuldeep a perfect fit for this match as the ball was spinning and the bowlers went as
weren't
effective
as
and
effective.
weren't as effective. I'm sorry, I'm just sick.
But yeah, that's true. We are coming out with a video on it tomorrow, so stay tuned. But yeah, Kuldeep, this pitch would have been perfect for Kuldeep.
Sechal, the only fielder that's allowed to wear gloves ever in a fielding unit is the wicketkeeper. 10 July 2019, a day no Indian would ever forget. What a heartbreaking moment. My favorite cricketer played his last match that day and got out in the worst way imaginable. Are you talking about MS Dhoni getting
Yes.
around? Right. We can talk of draw once we bat, or draw is very unlikely, right? India will find it difficult to take wickets in the second innings. If Kuldeep was there, he would have just ran through England. This shows how the management is lackluster understanding the pitch.
On the contrary, I don't think India will struggle that much to get
Yeah,
wickets in the second innings. The pitch is going to turn so much more. There will possibly be a rough by then. So it's something that we'll see. Not selecting Kuldeep, yes, I do agree that Kuldeep should have been there from the second test itself.
right.
But to say that this lineup will struggle to take wickets versus having Kuldeep would have made the difference is very subjective.
That's very interesting. Pavan Sai. To be honest, our Indian pacers didn't utilize the pitch as produce variable bounce. They missed this trick to try more bounces. That's something the commentators were talking about. That's very
Interesting.
good observation. Maybe because they just wanted to stick to certain line and lengths. Also because I think the past of short ball ploys have haunted them.
Traumatic
Uh,
experiences.
I think ended a bowler's career already if he's not picked again. Something we will see. But is it possible to sub wicket keepers as much as they can, like make Pant only bat, Jurel keep only? I don't think you can. I think it's the same rule applies if a wicket keeper, if a fielder is subbed out. I think Rishabh Pant is allowed because the injury happened on the field, so he's allowed to get off. I don't think there'll be an exception for he can only come into bat after a
Right.
certain number of
Yeah.
overs. If the injury was before the match, I think then there's a thing. MS no 100 in Sena test Dhoni, right? Why can't we back our best spinner Kuldeep irrespective of any pitch like England? Backing Bashir instead of giving more importance to pitch than skill.
Lads, I love all these comments. I'm stuck. But yeah, let's see. Am I back? Am I back? Yeah, so what I was saying is I love these comments. We better see these on the video tomorrow. Right? You better engage with that because it's going to die out pretty soon otherwise.
Just few days back, the conditions to bat in Lords were very tough, but today it looks so different solely because of sun or pitch preparation. Also, I think it's the home team that's playing in, and also the sun. Yeah,
Bit of both because I mean there was also an effort to hold the pitch together, ensure it plays well today by having all of that grass before the match started and then trimming it off right before so that it becomes a good batting pitch. And yeah, the sun also plays a part.
Everyone talking about KL's long rope. We need to talk about the player with the longest rope, Crawley. Yeah, I think before this innings, for someone who scored at least 1,000 runs or 1,500, something like that, Crawley has the worst average in Test cricket history ever.
For a top six batter,
No, no, just for an opener.
for an opener.
So, or I
He
think
might even be the top six batter. That's something we can run the stats on, but yeah.
I'll comment with all three of my accounts. Don't worry. What video is coming out tomorrow? The videos that's coming out tomorrow is why Kuldeep Yadav should be. First of all, the question is, will he ever be India's number one winner? But why he should be playing in every playing 11 pot.
We've done a very interesting breakdown on not just the obvious numbers, but some interesting stats, comparisons. What he's also done with the bat, because a lot of people think he cannot bat. That, and also just the gaps in between test matches for him. It's so sad. Yeah,
It's frustrating.
it is frustrating.
If you have watched the Umesh Yadav video, you will see a lot of frustration. Kuldeep Yadav's batting last for India would be really difficult. India has to bat deep in the first innings, at least need to get a 50-run lead. Oh, I completely agree. I think regardless of how India is going to bat in the second innings, I think India needs to bat out England in the first. And by bat out, I mean,
100%.
yeah, at least 50 runs lead or whatever the lead could possibly be. I think this test match is in a very interesting situation in terms of how England have gone about to play. I think you can make fun of them as much as you want about baseball. In the end of day's play, they're 251 for 4. I think the England camp are going to be happy with it.
Yeah.
Because only 4 wickets fallen. With Root on 99, Ben Stokes, the captain, settled in. Make fun of baseball as much as you want. They're still playing good cricket. So I feel like they are doing what they have to do to win a match.
I have a strong feeling that if England have a good day tomorrow, then India are like, it's up to England to lose this test match from there. Because this pitch, seeing that it's already turning on the first day, I have a bad feeling that by day 4 it's going to be kind of tough to bat on.
Anirudh Joshi, why was the carry so bad at Lords? Historically, in the last couple of years, I say historically, but in the last couple of years, the pitch has really slowed down.
Yeah.
It's not It's never been the fastest paced pitch, but there have been times at Lords where the pitch does get faster through the day or like during the test match, but that's certainly not going to happen. The pitch has really slowed down at Lords for whatever reason. But yeah, that's been it. All right, so this has been a post day live, especially because we're sick. We're going to keep it short today. But thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for joining us. It's always a great pleasure. I said great pressure.
That should give you a perspective. This has been us the entire day, just fumbling. Yeah,
I saw a stat that said since Kuldeep's debut, him and Morne Morkel have played the same.
exactly.
Exactly, yeah.
You've also heard it on the live.
You'll also hear it in tomorrow's video.
You will.
So yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for watching us. We will see you guys. Oh, by the way, if you guys don't know the women's Indian team, oh, very, very interesting, right? So wait, don't go. We'll be here for a couple of minutes. So the women's Indian team yesterday won the T20 series against England for the very first time. Interestingly, in 1999, they won. Okay,
First ODI.
right. So
series.
yesterday was what day? All right. So on 9th July 2025, the Indian women's team won their first T20 series against England in England. Now
26 years ago.
26 years ago, which is in 1999, 9th July, the same day, India won a series against England in England, but that was an ODI series. How
Historic firsts
Yeah.
and just the coincidence
that
of
is
it
the
all.
most bizarre stat.
Yeah.
On the same day, India wins the first T20 series 2025 in England against England. 1999, they win the first ODI series against England.
And we've also done a video on it. So you
Yes.
should check it out.
Yeah, we've done the video on the 1999. So yeah,
Yeah.
do check it out. Thank you guys so much for watching. We always appreciate the support. We will see you guys hopefully feeling a little better tomorrow at 2:45, talking about what India needs to do to get England all out and what possibly with the bat. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, share, and subscribe, all that good stuff. See you guys tomorrow.